The Louis Bellina Show. I could do that better. The Louis Bellina Show. Lunchtime, thanks to Rudy's Barbecue. The Louis Bellina Show presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, and community. That's CC Electric. Now, I got this Aggie football question I'm going to present to you somewhere next 3 minutes. I'm going to let you take a shot at it. 12:35, Bucky McMillan listening. He just wrapped up his media day right about 11:15, 11:20 today. You and I are going to listen in together at 12:35. But there is another part of our lunchtime, our noon to one equation. I'm opening up the ticket booth. Yep, ticket booth is thanks to Dixie Tire Company. They are open Monday through Friday till 6. They're open Saturday till 1. And you can always give them a call at 775-TIRE. T-I-R-E. You did hear correctly. 775-TIRE. That's Dixie Tire Company. I'm going to give away a $50 gift card to Rudy's Barbecue. Now, a lot of people texted me, Ivan the Beer Man. Dude, long time. Is one of them, JT 5150, Chris in Somerville, Dale and Tabor. But the 39-cent burgers was Archie Burgers. And you could get a double-decker for 99 cents. A lot of people texting me there because I knew in the many years in Beers Factor kicked in, sometimes information leaks out of one's brain. But Archie Burger was the 39-cent burger the other person had referenced. So thank you. Quite a few people, again, helped me out. Ivan the Beer Man. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. That is the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox number. And man, how did I miss that? I probably didn't. Look, I've explained parts of this over the many, many years we've been hanging out on the Louis Bellina Show. I'm a child of the 80s. We know how to live right. The 90s is 10 years. It's 1 year that was 10 years long. Many years and beers mixed in there. 2000s, I don't know how to even explain that decade. So there's a lot of things I know, but I don't know I know. But I can unlock at times. It's been a good life. Archie Burger, 39 cents. The double-decker was 99. Thank you for everyone. And again, today's an odd day. People are remembering things and sharing. Bryan College Station's had a glorious history. So, the Aggie football question. This morning, I'm over at my desk, up here, Bryan Broadcasting, 5th floor, getting ready for the show. SEC Mike, who I believe in the falls, I know during the Aggie football season, he's on Texags. He's pretty entertaining. I'm a fan of his work. But today, this morning, SEC Mikey posted his podcast show, and he asked this question. It's an Aggie football question. I see this question all the time. And I don't like these kind of questions. This isn't a shot at SEC Mike. I think he's fantastic. But would you buy Texas A&M being a better overall team in 2026, but not having, as good a record in 2025? Would you buy Texas A&M being a better overall team in 2026, but not having as good a record in 2025? They were 11-1 a year ago. And they're a better team than last year, but oh no, they're 10-2 or 9-3. I don't think it's possible to be better with a worse record. I think there's too many fallacies in there. You're telling me that everyone else improved more than you did, and you improved too. Like, if you broke down every step of that statement, would it be a single-digit % that it actually could be true? It's said all the time. It's one of those things that theorize, speculate. It's very common thought. But the actuality of it being possible, oh yeah, they're so much better than last year, but damn, they lost 4 more games. It's just a high. Now, we could take out who improved more and who improved less. The odds of going 11-1 again, unless you're in dynasty mode, are really high, and it has nothing to do with improvement levels of you or improvement levels of your opponents. It's just a base fact that if you're not going to be Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, or play in a conference that's just weak, it's hard to go 11-1 10 straight years. So the odds of A&M not having as good a record are about 92.9%. So whether A&M's as good as they were last year or worse than last year, the actual odds of them not winning, it's 11-1, it's regular season. Be careful here, okay? Are extremely high without any other qualifiers of why they don't win 11 games. So the statement, would you buy Texas A&M being better overall in 2026, but not having as good a record in 2025? There's just too many floating variables for the whole statement to actually be valid. You could give me any team that's not a current dynasty and go, what are the odds of them winning 11 games again? And I would say slim to none. But if it's Saban against Smart, that's how I got trapped with Indiana. You know, I didn't think they were going to make the college football playoff last year because odds of. And they won the whole dang thing, and we're one of the best teams in the history of college football. One of. I didn't say the. Stop. One of, okay? So just that, would you buy? Okay, so step one, the odds of winning 11 again, unless Elko's opened up a dynasty window, which we won't know for another 3 years if that's a true statement or not, are slim to none. It's just not something that happens. Okay, let's go with that. Now let's take that off the table. Let's just continue with the question, trying to remove some of these random factors around it, right? If you were good enough to go 11-1 and you're better, because it says, would you buy that A&M is a better team than last year? No, you're not going to win less games. Do you know how exponentially better, how many opponents on your schedule have to be better? Do you remember that A&M last year, they didn't squeak by very many opponents? Do you know how much better A&M's opponents need to be? A&M destroyed a lot of their 11 wins. They didn't survive very many. Oh, there were some close games. I mean, South Carolina, greatest comeback in school history, one of the greatest comebacks in college football history. And Notre Dame was pretty much the last play, right? I mean, there's those moments. But okay, every season, whether you're 8-4 or 11-1, there's 3 of those games, regardless of your record. That's not a unique thing to 11 wins or 8 wins, that you look back at 3 games that could have went either way. They're going to exist no matter what your final record is. Would you buy A&M being a better team, but not as good a record? No, I think maybe you know my answer on this story, right? It's very hard no. If A&M is a better team than last year, I buy them being in the national championship game of college football. That's where I'm going to go. If right now I got struck by lightning and my higher brain functions allowed me to see the future, and I couldn't see their final record, but I know as a fact, and I do mean a fact, that they're a better team, I'm buying like Final Four level of stock. This team was one player away from playing for the national championship last year, and they're a better team now? I took a look at their schedule as I was pondering this whole entire concept, and I think they have 6 teams that'll be ranked. Potentially 2. And I said potentially 2 that's top 10. Truthfully, only 1 that I would say I quote unquote know. LSU is this potential top 10 team, but that is being greedy. That's just being greedy. Right? LSU is potentially a top 10 team. LSU is potentially a college football playoff team, which means you can be non-top 10 at 11 and 12. Potentially. A ranked team, I think LSU is a legit top 25. I think 40 new players in the portal than their high school class, 50 plus. And look, Lane Kiffin proved his credentials at Ole Miss that he is a portal god. But he has more money. He's perfected his portalism there, right? So why doubt it? Look, just let's just say top 25. He's legitimately brought LSU back to top 25 non-laughing stock status. That's where Brian Kelly had him because he did it at Ole Miss. And if he can do that with Ole Miss money, what is he going to do with LSU money? So let's not go top 10 in college football playoff in year one. Maybe you do, but let's just say we know they're a top 25 team. He did it at Ole Miss. Now, the one team that's a bona fide top 10, it's Texas, no matter how much you hate them. And I'm going to vote a lot. If we were, how much do you hate Texas? I think a lot would win the poll. They're a top 10 team. I think they're in the college football playoff. Their defense is going to be too legit to quit. Coleman was insurance for Arch. The part about the O-line that might give the suffering now is they might not be able to run the ball. And if they don't have any balance with any type of run game, they can't realize their full potential. Doesn't mean they can't win 10 games. Take a look at their schedule. Back to A&M schedule. So, it's a schedule that has one top 10 team bona fide, potentially two. And then we just start getting into teams that are top 25 type teams. Like Arizona State is a top 25 type team. Missouri is a top 25 type team. Alabama's top 15 because they'll be plus or minus one game of the college football playoff. Tennessee, top 25 fringe. Oklahoma's one of the more fascinating teams. Just look at the last 2 years. 6-6 or 11-1, and both numbers seem to be realistic. So they could be another potential top 10 or unranked. Right? They both are real. So A&M's schedule is daunting. 9 game and you got 5 road, 4 home. One bona fide, we know they're top 10. 2 others, fringe potential, or one of them could be unranked. So, this isn't that scary. You don't have Georgia. I don't know how else to put it. Like, if you can't manage this SEC schedule, this isn't brutal. If you're going to play in the SEC, this is fine. You even look at the consecutive stretches. The toughest stretch is playing Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas back-to-back, and that's a fringe top 25 in Tennessee, a wild card in Oklahoma, and then you finish with the only legit top 10 team you have in Texas. So, and here's what I'm saying. It ties back to if they are better than last year, what would the schedule mean? Now, for a team that is replacing 4 offensive linemen, of the 2 deep for your D-line, look, you're replacing your front 7 D-line. You're replacing 4 of your front 4 offensive linemen who are all going to be NFL draft picks. This schedule might be overly daunting for that team. We'll find out the answers. We'll find out the replacement. Elko crushed it in the portal. And we keep talking about the portal. They've had players they've been developing. We should see some of the players that have been in the program for at least 2 years with this coaching staff contribute. You have to. You have to. You can't tell me players 2 years in the portal right now can't contribute. That wouldn't be the best. There's got to be players from the program ready, not just the transfers. So, a team better than last year on this year's schedule should win 11 games. A team that's still developing and rebuilding, I don't know how many wins they have on this year's schedule. How fast do they get up to speed? How quick do new guys get the Elko way and get into the system? How quick? O-line is only as strong as its weakest link, and you're going to have 4 new starters. How fast do they click and their chemistry comes? Good thing Adam Cushion's a god. We saw how quickly he took one of the worst O-lines in A&M history because he didn't need 10 months. He didn't need 9 months. I mean, he had one off season. And he took one of the worst O-lines I've ever seen at Texas A&M and had them mashing and owning in one spring and one summer. So, it doesn't, and all these O-linemen, previously starters in the SEC. But, so again, we're doing it relative to the question was a team A&M better than last year's A&M team? I think should win 11 on the schedule. I just don't like those questions. There's so many other variables. So, my thoughts, I'm now punting the question to you. Do you think that a team better than last year's A&M team could have or would have or should have a worse record than last year? Because I don't at all. Not even a little bit. A team better than last year's team would end up in the Final Four of the college football playoff this year is what I think. I've been doing some off-season college football prep already. We have the same story as last year. There is no clear-cut number one. There is no team that has to win the national championship. You don't have a dynasty team. It's open for another team that puts together their best year ever to be the national champ. That's what college football is on the national scene. It is open for the team that has the best year to win. Because during the Saban dynasty, there was a lot of programs that had their best year ever and got destroyed mercilessly because there was a dynasty in progress. There was a lot of coaches in the SEC who never got to have a career because Saban owned the SEC. There was a lot of careers that got snuffed out because of Saban. That's the truth. I need a timeout. Do you buy the whole better A&M team, worse record concept? Do you think that's possible? Text me, 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. This is the Louie Bellina Show, Tuesday. I'll be right back. You're listening to The Zone.
Visit zone1150.com and get the podcast for TexAgs Live, the Louie Bellina Show, and Chip Howard Sports Talk. The podcasts are also available anywhere and everywhere you get your favorite podcasts.
The Louie Bellina Show. We're rolling along. 12:35. I got to listen in. Bucky McMillan. He just had his media day like an hour. Actually, it was over an hour ago. And we're going to hear what he had to say. Cheryl talk about the win over LSU. SEC tournament. Thoughts on NCAA hopes. And they're not hopes. They're dancing, baby. Also, 1 o'clock, Olin Buchanan will join me inside the Charles Schwab studio. I love our Olin time. He's just one of the funnest people I know, and I love talking sports. I love just hanging out with him. Low cost, full service, best of all local, that is Schwab. You can visit Mark Sim right here in College Station. Experience a modern approach to wealth management. Find Mark online at schwab.com/College Station. Charles Schwab and Company Incorporated, member SIPC. At 1:50, it is the Community Spotlight. And today it's the Aggieland Humane Society. But if you've been hanging out with us during our time together today, I kind of told you that the ticket booth was going to be open, and it was going to be open during the lunch hour. Well, the ticket booth, brought to you by Dixie Tire Company, is open right now. Caller number 5, all Zone Brian Broadcasting prize rules do apply. Caller number 5 now. I'm going to hook you up with a $50 gift card to Rudy's Barbecue. 979-693. Jeanette, that's me. I got this. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. All Zone Brian Broadcasting prize rules apply. If you ever wonder what the Zone Brian Broadcasting prize rules are, you can go to zone1150.com. Zone1150.com. It says prize rules, and just make sure, that you're eligible. And caller 5 now at 979-693-1150. And that is case you're pondering, I recognize that number, the D4 Land Services hotline number. I'll give you a $50 gift card to Rudy's Barbecue. Call now, caller 5 now. All prize rules apply. Good luck. Enjoy you some Rudy's Barbecue. The ticket booth is open, and the ticket booth is thank you so much to Dixie Tire Company. Good luck. Caller 5. Again, we're going to have the ticket booth open every day this week. Why? It's spring break, and it's the kids, and they're leaving town. Well, hey, the adult types can enjoy the spring break too, and we do it with barbecue. Yeah, with barbecue here on the Louie Bellina Show. Moving along, I want to stay college football. Again, my thoughts on the whole better than but less record. Total sell on my part. Don't believe that's possible. I believe that you can't win 11 games again, regardless of A&M, regardless of better than, because only dynasties win 11 and 12 games every year. So if you're just not a dynasty, I'd say it's a low single-digit % chance of winning 11 and 12 games every year, regardless of better than, regardless of your schedule changes. If A&M right now, you tell me fact, gospel, undisputable, that this year's A&M team is better than last year's A&M team, I will buy 11 or more wins on this schedule. Yeah, right now, but you can't do that, so I'm moving on. Something that was fun, man. I don't know where this came from. Both The Athletic and ESPN.com, they talked to their experts, college football presented. The Athletic had a college football coaches poll, and ESPN asked their experts, what team improved the most? What team improved the least? I love this kind of stuff. I'm pro consensus type things. And they asked themselves, ESPN first, what teams is going to improve the most? And Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State were Virginia Tech and Oklahoma State were the most obvious answers. And you know the why part? Simple. Coaching hires. Va-Tech getting James Franklin. James Franklin's a winner. Maybe you can't win the last 2 games, but you're Virginia Tech. You'd be happy, we'll say 7-8 years before the crowd gets restless. Va-Tech would kill to win 10 games a year again. They're in a horrible conference where the first 9 wins should be mindless, and James Franklin's got 10 in the bank. So, and Oklahoma State. At the end, for Gundy, he had a falling out with the alums. He had a falling out with his administration. The clock was ticking. Eric Morris comes in, and he brought so much talent that, and the players quit. I mean, it was so ugly at Okie State. And that was kind of like, and there was more. There's other ones like, which team will show the greatest improvement? Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech. Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech. Those are kind of like, I don't want to say easy and obvious, but I believe those are obvious. Those are going to be facts. Virginia Tech was 3-9. James Franklin, if he struggles in his first year, is probably going to win 8 games at Virginia Tech, and that's +5. And Oklahoma State, same thing, man. Do you know that Oklahoma State has been 0-18 in the past 2 years in Big 12 play? Don't see that happening again. Florida pops up. Florida's been underachieving horrifically. They've still won a couple of games by accident. And then staying along this whole college football, looking ahead, let's have fun with it kind of thing, right? The coaching poll survey that they did at The Athletic was fascinating. And what they did is they asked and they let it be anonymous. They asked a Big 12 assistant, an American Conference head coach, they asked 3 of them, Sun Belt assistant, Mountain West head coach, Big 10 assistant, 3 Big 10 assistants, Pac-12 assistant, 2 SEC head coaches. This is the pool. I'm trying to give you a feel for it. Yeah, there you go. These questions, and then tabulated. There were 10 coaches in total. They said, and this is the one for me of all of them, if every coaching job opened tomorrow, what is the one job you would want? Of all the questions they asked, that's the most honest. Let's just cut through the garbage. If every coaching job opened tomorrow, which one would you want? One job, dominated. It got not just the most, but easily this was the one job. Second place was Georgia and Ohio State. Georgia and Ohio State. Ohio State they're not in the SEC, and they have all the resources that kind of equal SEC. So not being in the SEC, but committed like the SEC, Ohio State got on the list. They were tied for second most kind of mentions, right? But Georgia is Georgia. Recruiting base and all the money. What people don't understand. So Georgia, the state, Atlanta, the city, Atlanta is the third most fertile, and the state of Georgia is the recruiting base of the whole SEC, and Georgia owns Georgia. So you kind of understand. Georgia owns Atlanta. They have everything. Do you know what number one? I've been giving you a second to think about it. Texas, the Longhorns. They were easily the number one most mentioned school. And one coach, most money, most resources, best location for recruiting. That's it. He didn't elaborate beyond that. If every coaching job opened tomorrow, which one would you want? Most money, most resources, best location for recruiting. Texas easily dominated that. And this is a poll of assistants, head coaches across all of college football. Now, other poll survey questions. Which hire surprised you the most, good or bad? I'm going to forward through all of it. They asked which was the most underrated. There was one coach that made both lists. That's what fascinated me. Bob Chesney, the UCLA hire, made the most surprising hire bad and the most underrated hire. He made both lists. You could say divisive hire then. Now, surprise you the most, good or bad? Golesh to Auburn, bad. Golesh to Auburn, bad. Golesh to Auburn, good. But generally most people, and I heard that when he's hired. Basically, everyone realized that Auburn struck out on every A-list hire, and they just got a top of the B list. So they're not saying that Golesh is bad. They were surprised that Auburn couldn't get one of their A hires, is really the reality of it. And when he was hired, everyone went, oh, Auburn couldn't get anyone off their A list. Kyle Whittingham at Michigan won the most underrated hire, if you're wondering, and I know you weren't. One more thing, and I'll say fascinating to us. Fascinating to us. If you're really super college football nerd, you've probably heard the name Jimmy Sexton. He is the most powerful power broker that you may or may not have heard of. He is an agent. He represents ADs. He represents coaches. And they asked the question, and they asked the coaches, these Big Ten assistants, head coaches that I was telling you about. So they know. How much does Jimmy Sexton control the sport? Again, I'll summarize for you. It's a two-part answer. He doesn't have as much control as he used to. Remember this name, Clint Dowdle, because he left CAA. So that took some of his power. Number two answer is this. Maybe he doesn't control the whole sport, but he controls the SEC. So, of note, maybe he doesn't control the whole sport, but he does control the SEC, which, by the way, by default, gives him influence on more of the sport because the SEC hires trickle down. So that influence over the SEC does trickle down, but A, not as much as he used to because Clint Dowdle left. B, he does the SEC. How much does he control the SEC? Because he represents the ADs and he represents many of the head coaches. There you go. A name to remember. I need a timeout because when we come back, it's Bucky time. We'll have a listen in. His media day was like 11:15. What does he have to say about everything, anything, the 2-0 week, SEC tournament, the NCAA tournament, and more? This is the Louie Bellina Show. Lunchtime, thanks to Rudy's Barbecue on the Zone.
Visit the Pod Center at zone1150.com and find every hour of every day of your favorite shows. Download or subscribe.
The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. They, CC Electric, do residential, commercial, and industrial services. Check them out for yourself. That's CC Electric. Time now. I have promised, so it is time. Bucky McMillan, a listening. He met with the media about 11:15 today. What did he have to say?
What would bringing home an SEC championship mean to you?
I mean, I think we all know the answer to that. It mean a lot, right? I mean, I think we got, some of these people that on staff got one in 16. They were here in 16. But, I mean, anytime if you bring home a championship in the toughest league in the country, it's probably even harder to win it now. I don't know where the SEC was ranked in 16, but now it's probably even harder. But obviously that's what you're playing for when you go up there. But we want to bring one home every year. I'd like to bring home a regular season and then the tournament. And then just bring on an NCAA one, too. Get all three of them.
As a coach's perspective, they get that first bye and then to play somebody who played the day before. I'm wondering, is that an advantage, disadvantage? How do you see that?
Well, I think it's always an advantage if you're trying to go win the tournament to not have to play as many games. I'm not saying you're going to be the best the first 10 minutes of the game, where another team that's played in the arena may be a little bit better. But, I'd still take the bye.
You talk about playing to win and just the thought of playing 4 games in 4 days, just what's kind of the mental and physical approach to that to, try and run a table like that?
Well, I think that you got to play aggressive attacking and you can live with whatever rolls after that. I do think that the way we closed the non-league out was pretty important because, I don't say anything for bulletin board material, so if the NCAA tournament committee can hear you say, or it's like leaving a party and you say, the cops aren't going to pull you over for going a mile over the speed limit or something, and then they're all out there ready for you to go a mile over the speed limit to show you that they're in control of this thing. But I think the way that we ended the season, we weren't going up there with the weight of the world on our shoulders. So our players should be able to go up there and play loose, and that's what you're going to have to do. Is you're going to have to play make in that game, and you're going to have to in those games to make some shots to keep advancing.
How are you feeling that for the last couple of years of your career, you had to win 4 or 5 games in a week to make the NCAA tournament, and now that weight has been lifted off your shoulders?
Yeah, it's just a different kind of weight, right? Like we had to win 4 or 5 games or we had to win 10, 11 games over the course of, 2 months or whatever it was. But it's a totally different deal. I was talking on something earlier today, and I mentioned that I thought in mid-major basketball, the teams that won the regular season probably accomplished the most because it's the biggest sample size, and anyone can get hot in a 3-game deal. And so I've always thought they should take the regular season winner in the mid-major because you're going to that conference tournament a wreck because you're another team getting hot on you from cutting your lights out, and you're the team that should be in the tournament, and they're in somehow. This is totally different because you have that large bid situation. But, tournament basketball is a tournament sport. Like, this is where people tune in. And we all know memories that have been etched in everyone's mind come from tournament playing basketball. And that's the SEC tournament. That's the NCAA tournament. And, that's what makes it, I personally preferred football when it was, just a regular BCS, 2 people playing for the Natty. A lot of people don't like that. I like that because every game in the regular season matters. It's almost like if you lost, you're done. And that's kind of what it feels like now. You lose, you're going home. And so, that's what it'll be.
Growing up in the SEC footprint and everything, I'm sure you followed SEC sports forever. So does being in this SEC tournament for you a little more special?
It's funny because I've never felt that when I've been coaching in a game. Like I thought that, like before the season, if I was coaching at Auburn and we played Alabama this year, or never felt it. Just being real, I've never felt any different than coaching a JV basketball game because you're just so dialed into your team and what you got to do. But I will say that I've gone to that tournament so many times growing up. You know, I've sat behind the benches a lot of times. I got so many incredible stories. Just so many great stories watching what's going on behind these benches that I can't even say on here. But if y'all want to catch me after, just some awesome stuff. Just some awesome that some coaches that are still in the league that we could play against here, you know, and watching them behind the bench and just, wow, that was amazing watching that, what just happened. That'll be fun. I mean, that would be fun because I've been there and have great memories. I've had my players I've coached had played in that tournament. I've been up there to I've hung out with the coaches because I was tight with a lot of those guys that were coaching the SEC at the time, right before they were about to walk in there to play a game. So I kind of know the vibe of it, and obviously we're looking forward to it.
Bucky, do you know or could you estimate how many SEC tournaments you've attended?
I don't know. I've been in Nashville several times, though, because it was usually right when our high school basketball season was ending. Uh-huh. Several times we'd win a state championship and we're right up there like the next week, and so in high school we play if we won, and like I would do like 2.5 weeks off, and I would just hit a lot of these tournaments, and so we would, but I went to a lot of them several years in a row up there.
And I wanted to ask you, I was looking it up today that you are 12-3 when Ryland scores in double figures, and when you didn't, it was like the Alabama game, the Tennessee game, and Missouri, high scoring
right there,
game.
Yeah.
Coincidence, or is Ryland that important?
Ryland's very important. I mean, I think Ryland's mindset the past couple of games has been the mindset he needs to have, which is like he's got to play not just a part of the game. You hear the Conor McGregor line, not take part in the game, go take over the game. And I think his mindset has to be, I'm here to take this thing over. This time of year, I know it's repetitive, you're going to have some guards take it over. And, it's a guards game, and when it comes down to it, and particularly in tournament play, and, the way he's played the past couple games has been as good as any guard in the league. And he's got to bring that in this tournament.
What I mean to you guys to see Rashawn get the All-SEC honor?
So great for him, I just think, this is a kid that played junior college basketball, played mid-major basketball. Like Rashawn, I told Rashawn, because you need to rest your body, bro. You've been going so hard. You got to chill out. I mean, what do you think about, Dave, if we took 3 days, this wasn't recent, it was 2 weeks ago. Took 3 days off and you didn't practice day before the game, just get you right. You're like, I have to play. I'm not a naturally good basketball player. I'm one of these guys that has to play every day. And I admire that about him. It's like he has worked himself into being an incredible basketball player. He probably, his endurance isn't the best. He's just that heavyweight boxer, and you can see he gives you everything he's got. And, to do what he's doing at his size, the way he rebounds the ball and have as many double-doubles as he's had, it's incredible. And it's been a long journey for him, but he's where he needs to be.
I remember being back at the court hearing in October, and you testifying about him, and basically said he'd be irreplaceable even before he even played a game. Just what's the biggest way you've seen that maybe ring true for you guys this season?
He's just a soldier. He's not going to back down from anybody. He's a leader. Rebound. Why can Rashawn at his size do what he does rebounding? Is it an incredible athlete? It's just his mindset. This is mine. I am getting this ball. You are not getting this ball. How can he, in one of the most important games of the year most important games of the year, last game, late in that game, cashes 2 threes, goes to the basket, gets an N1, blocks huge shots. That's just what he is. He's just a baller. And you got to have that. And, we talk about rising up this time of year. That dude's rose up all year long.
To that point, to be able to ID what he could do and what you saw for him vision-wise to work out, how important is that for recruiting to say, hey, look at what we saw a vision for Rashawn, look at what he's done for us, we could do something similar for you?
I think it's always good in recruiting that you can, that the players can vouch that what you say is true. Like, I'm a truth teller in recruiting, and I tell people what I see and what they're going to have to do. And so I think that they ask those players, and you hope the players would say that they were honest with me when they recruited me. Like, I don't promise anyone anything, but I say if you work really hard, I can see you being this. And I mean, he's been all of that, and so have a lot of our other players. I think that you also want to recruit. You want to play in a way where your other players watch your team play and say, "Man, I want to go do that. That seems like fun." I think we got some good stats. We've been a top 10 team in the country in scoring. In the SEC play, we've been a top 3 defense. We've been a high assist team, which means we pass the ball. So most players would want to be a part of that.
You twice this year beat South Carolina already. Do you buy into it's hard to beat a team 3 times or 2 times thing?
Well, we beat Oklahoma twice. We played South Carolina once, but the good part is that if we played Oklahoma, we don't got to beat them 3 times. Just got to beat them 1 time, thank God. But if we had to beat them 3 times up there, we'd have problems. But they're playing good. Like both teams. South Carolina got a win the other day at Ole Miss, and Oklahoma's playing really good. We gave them their last loss, and look. You look at Oklahoma, they were right around the top 25 team before conference play started. They lost a lot of close games and in league play, but they could certainly. I think they're still fighting right now to be a tournament team. So they're playing well. They just popped Texas. They won at Vandy. They got great guard play. They're a problem, and that's not to negate South Carolina. We just only played them 1 time.
I think it was in your post game. You talked about that last play at LSU when y'all were maybe supposed to intentionally foul him, and McKinnon got the open shot. Did you get to go back and see maybe what the breakdown was and why that didn't maybe transpire?
Oh yeah, I got the breakdown all right. I know what happened, and I watched it with one of my guys on the plane. Like, bro, what happened? And I don't care what excuse you make, the film doesn't lie. What was supposed to happen. But we can't do that. At the end of the day, I think Ruben ended up blocking the shot from the. If you go back and you watch it, I think he altered the shot. Thank God that was Ruben, in that spot. I mean, the way we executed that last one, we may have tackled him and got an end one, and that would have been a heck of a way to end the regular season play.
So, what characteristics do a SEC tournament team and an NCAA tournament need to have to make a deep run?
You got to be good on defense, that's for sure. You got to do that. You obviously got to have your guards play really well. I mean, and I think that you got to play to win. Like, you can't play not to lose. You just got to go and you can't hang on. And I think our team knows that. I think we hadn't hung on at any point all year long, but we're not a team that's like, oh man, I hope they don't lose in March Madness. They really would blow it. That's not our mindset, and that's not where we are. So let's just roll, be aggressive, let our guards play well, play tenacious on defense, and be us. I remember that was most important thing when we played when I was at Sanford and we played Kansas, and we were right there to beat Kansas in the NCAA tournament. And I remember somebody was talking to me, Jay Wright was talking to me. He's like, man, what are y'all going to do? Playing how y'all play when y'all are outmatched versus Kansas in a mid-major. And I said, the most important deal is that our guys are comfortable in the game. Let's just play how we play. And sure, they got some dunks and block shots, and we missed some threes, but we ended up making almost 20-something threes in the game. And so, probably should have won the game right there. Just had a controversial ending.
That wraps up our listen in. Bucky McMillan, A&M basketball head coach, met with the media hour and change ago. And, well, that's everything A&M hoops. When we come back, got to wrap up our lunch hour together here on the Louie Bellina Show on The Zone.
You're listening to Aggieland's home for Aggie baseball. The Astros, the Bombers, and more. The Zone. 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, community. Wanted to leave you with a little tidbit, something just cool as heck. My producer, Jeanette, found this, but it's from on Twitter X at Racer HQ. Twitter X at Racer HQ. Sunday at noon, there's the Java House Grand Prix of Arlington. Java House Grand Prix of Arlington. Felix Rosenquist is going to sport a new maroon. Is it livery or livery? I'm going to go with livery. for this weekend's inaugural Hava House Grand Prix of Arlington. It's a Texas A&M Grand Prix car. It's a Texas A&M Grand Prix car. It says Texas A&M University on both sides. And of course, the rest of it, there's an ATM. The A&M logo is on the front nose. And the whole thing is maroon. And with that tail being maroon, this car looks absolutely amazing. Like, I would kill to have a replica of it for my office. I put all my collectibles in my office here at the radio station, here at the Bryan Broadcasting Building. I would kill for a replica of this car. It is absolutely amazing. So Sunday noon, the inaugural Hava, maybe it's Java. I like Hava. It's probably Java Grand Prix of Arlington. You can see the maroon and white Grand Prix car, and it is absolutely incredible. And you can check it out at Twitter X at Racer HQ.
This is your home for Aggie football, basketball, and baseball. It's the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Listen on the Zone app or online at RadioAggieland.com or tell Alexa, play Zone 1150.
Play Zone 1150.
Listen live on your phone, smart speaker, computer, or the Zone app. Powered by Loyalty Plumbing, where craftsmanship and loyalty is their business. Visit LoyaltyPlumbingLLC.net. Take the Zone and your favorite teams and shows with you wherever you go.